Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Well, today we're comparing two cameras. Well, one's a mobile phone and one of them is actually a camera. But I did this comparison because I wanted to see how good the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which we have here, lovely, excellent piece of kit, will work against the fantastic little Sony Z-V1, which we have here, with its, articulating screen and what have you. And I've already done a video on its video quality between these two, which I link somewhere up here. And I was actually very impressed with the iPhone 12 Pro Max. In fact, so much so, I think the iPhone 12 Pro Max actually worked out better than what the Z-V1 did. Although saying that, I still use the Z-V1 every day for my, almost picked up my RX100 VA then. I use the Z-V1 regularly for me videos here, and it's doing me close-up shot as you can see here. So that's picking up my, the Z-V1's great. It's got product showcase mode, throws the background out of focus when you show the product. That is a great feature, one that I use on a regular basis. Well, it is not virtually every single video that I do. But today we're looking at stills that come off the 12 Pro Max that I have here and the XV1. So let's get into it. Now, I did them as best I could, so they both came out the same. I set the ZV1 to programmed automatic. I thought that was the fairest thing to do, because with the stock app that comes with the iPhone, it is pretty much fully automatic. You can adjust the brightness and contrast to some extent. It's actually quite good what you can do, but I didn't do any of that. Point and shoot. I did it as a point and shoot, because when I go out and about with my brother or my fiance, that's pretty much what I use my RX100 VA for, which is what this one is here. I've got the RX100 VA, and that is pretty much a, I said it's a programmed automatic, pretty much a point and shoot camera. Now, it has got manual settings on the RX100 VA, but it is, for me, just grab it out of my pocket, point and shoot, get the shots. I shoot in RAW, and with the iPhone, I set that to RAW, because it's great now with the iPhone. You can do RAW and JPEG, or HEIC files, because the compression in the HEIC file is higher, but it handles the compression better than what JPEGs do, and it doesn't take up so much memory. But I also shoot in RAW, which is basically a DNG file. It creates a digital negative file. It gives you a lot more flexibility with editing, with adjusting contrast, brightness, highlights, shadows, etc. And I found that was excellent, and I'll show you. So what we'll do, let's go through some of these samples. Now, what we got here is I took quite a few samples of the same subject, and I was blown away how good the iPhone is. On the left here, we've got the ZV1 file. On the right, we've got the iPhone. And I can see straight away that the ZV1's blown out. The highlights are completely blown out. They're nowhere near so much on the DNG file of the iPhone 12 Pro Max. And I found the sharpness and clarity was better on the iPhone than it was on the ZV1. That was consistent. I consistently found that across every image that I took. Now, I think there are good reasons why that would be. The ZV1 has a bigger sensor. It's got a 1-inch sensor, so it will create more bokeh, will create a better background defocus than what the iPhone does. Also, because it's got a bigger sensor, it should capture more detail. The smaller sensor should in theory be sharper anyway, because most things are going to be in focus. So I kind of expect that, but I didn't expect it to be as far ranging as it is, with these shots. Now, they're zoomed in, 100%, but look at the colours. You can see far more detail in the iPhone image than you can in the ZV1. If you look at these leaves, look at another two images. If we go down here and compare that one to that one, the same thing. The DNG file just looks crisper. It just looks nicer. Look at the detail there compared to there. The Z-V1 just looks mushy. And also the colours look more representative to what we are in real life. Now this is where, you know, the depth of focus is coming in with a Z-V1. It's throwing the background out of focus a bit more. But it makes it look a bit mushier. And I find that I'm preferring the iPhone 12 Pro Max image there. I just find that the clarity and the detail in the file is just better. You know, when you look at these leaves, they are slightly bokeh, slightly out of focus on the 12 Pro Max, but there's still detail there. On the Z-V1, there is no detail. Now, I know what we're looking at is not like for like, in the sense that the Z-V1 will create more bokeh, and I'm comparing kind of bokeh to bokeh, and that's kind of unfair because the Z-V1 will create more depth of field. But I am definitely looking at the clarity of the foreground as well as the clarity of the background. So I'm not just picking out the background. And if we go down to another image, any of them, I mean, you know, if we look at these two, you can see there's far more detail in the image on the right than what there is on the left. And the colours, do you not think the colours on the Z-V1 look a bit mushy? You know, the greens just look a bit mushy. But when you look at the colours on this one, and look at the railings on the bridge there, so much sharper, beautiful sharpness there. To some extent, I do find, I've said this with my other review of the 12 Pro Max, they are a little bit over sharpened when they come out of the camera. But the great thing is, using well, most software, but I'm using Capture One Pro, and in that software, same with Lightroom, I would imagine the same with Luminar, but in that software you can actually tone down the sharpness, which is excellent. So you go into that tab and you can actually take down the sharpness. So if we bring up that image, I just find that a little bit too sharp, so you can actually take down the sharpness, so you can see the difference is over sharpened, and take the sharpness down. And that then is more like a film image, or it doesn't look so digital. It doesn't look, you know, like it's come out of a mobile phone. I really don't think these images look like they've come out of a mobile phone, you know. I think they're, you know, standalone. That looks great. Now, the sky is definitely blown out on this image. So what we're going to do now is bring the sky back into detail. Hopefully we can bring the detail back into the sky somewhat on the DNG file, which is the iPhone 12 Pro Max file. So let's have a look at that, see if we can. I haven't done this yet, but we'll have a look, see if we can. Let's go into this here. So let's go, oh no, that's the white balance one, it's this one here. So let's bring up the exposure warning. So we can see here this red is showing that that is way overexposed. Let's take the exposure down a wee bit. Not too much, and take the highlights right down. Take the exposure down a bit more. So now the shadows have gone yucky, but we can bring those shadows back up. And we can bring a bit of clarity, we had to bring the clarity back in a bit. Amount of clarity, let's have a look, see what. Now the thing is, you can go crazy with it. I haven't done that. Let's get rid of the exposure warning. Look at that. What a lovely image. Well, it's not a great photograph, but it's a lovely, see that sharpness. Now, this is all coming off the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and they're more than printable. There's a 12 megapixel files. I've used the wide lens. There's 3 lenses on the 12 Pro Max. So you've got your wide, your ultra wide, and your telephoto. Most of these images are taken on the wide, although maybe not all of them, but most of them have been. And there's a lot of latitude in these images. I'm blown away by how good mobile phones have got over the last few years. I've said before in another review, I never thought in my wildest dreams I would be recommending a mobile phone to people for photography. And I certainly am, because you know, they're great, they really are good. And I'm just trying to show people what can be achieved with a mobile phone. You know, if you're looking at it, you can see that's a pretty good image. That should print, you know, that should print pretty reasonably. We've got shadow detail, you know, detail up the path, walking up the path. It is excellent. Let's have a look at another one. Let's have a look at this one here. Now, a huge difference also in tonal quality as well as sharpness and other details. The Z-V1, again, all blown out, you know, no detail there at all. If we zoom in 100%, not even on the close-up. Look at the close-up of the plant there. Certainly not in sharp focus, but you look at the close-up on the iPhone 12 image, look how beautiful that is. And look at the colours of the plant itself. Where is the plant on here? Here it is. Hey, it's blown out. But you know, we can bring that detail back. Control T. Now let's bring the take the exposure down. That's moving the Z-V1. Take the highlights down. So it's not. You see, there's not a huge amount of latitude there. I've had to take the highlights right the way down. Well, it has worked. Let's take that back out. Bring the shadows up a bit now. But what that hasn't done is brought the sharpness back into the image, but it certainly brought a bit of detail in the colours there. Now let's do the same on this image now. Let's take that, the highlights down on that. Look at that, you can see the detail in the leaf. That is incredible. I'm still blown away by how incredible that is. And look at that, that is excellent, isn't it? We're going closer there. We're going closer there. The leaf on the iPhone image is sharp. The leaf on the Z-V1 image isn't sharp. And, you know there's going to be limitations, and there's also going to be differences where I had the focus point on both cameras. But I left the Z-V1 on fully auto, as I said, the same as with the 12 Pro Max. And the point I'm trying to get at here is that if you are just going out and about and you want to get photographs, but you're pretty sure the camera is going to get it, then the 12 Pro Max is fantastic, because it really does just get it. It seems to nail it virtually every single time. And I'm blown away by how it does that. If we take a quick look at, let's grab that one. Let's go out of that and go into that and go before and after. You can see, what one can do with it. So that's obviously before and that's after. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Well, let's have a quick look at one more example. There's just so many here, I just don't know where to stop. I like examples with lots of colour in. Let's get rid of this before and after, so I've not done anything yet. Compare those two. Get rid of that. So you can see again, the colours in the DNG file, which is the iPhone file, are lovely. The colours on the Z-V1 don't seem natural, and they're a bit wishy-washy, which completely and totally surprised me. And it isn't pin sharp, where when you look at it on the 12 Pro Max, incredible. Which is also another bizarre thing, because the 12 Pro Max is a 12 megapixel sensor and the Z-V1 is a 20 megapixel sensor. So in theory, if you look at the specs on paper, the Z-V1 should be smashing the 12 Pro Max out of the water, should be completely knocking it out of the park, but it doesn't seem to do so. Not in programmed automatic. And I suspect the same will be with the iPhone 13. I'm actually filming the clip, this scene with the iPhone 13. I got the Pivo auto tracking thing. So I'm hoping I've got it set up right. It does seem to be tracking me. I don't know if I've got the framing right at all, but that should be tracking me. Just a bit of fun. I'm doing it for a bit of fun, just to see what it can do. While we're talking about the kit that I'm using today, I'm using the A7C with the 85mm lens on, the Sony A7C with the 85mm lens on as camera number 1. Camera number 2 is a new camera. Well, I've had it quite a long time, but it's new using it in this scenario, which is my Panasonic S5 with the kit lens, a 20-60 kit lens on. That's a really, really nice lens. Not ideal in the studio because it hasn't got a really wide aperture. So I do need to look at using a lens with a wider aperture, but that's basically camera number 2. Number 3 is the trusty Z-V1 with product showcase mode on. That's picking up the close-up shots, although I haven't done many close-up shots today, so I haven't needed to. And then obviously I've got my computer running into the Blackmagic A10 Mini Pro for picking up the well, what I'm doing on the computer. And then I've got my iPhone 13 Pro doing the fancy stuff there, just as a giggle, for a bit of fun. But getting back to these images, yeah, I think no matter which ones I compare, I mean, this is another classic example. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of you guys and girls that watch this video and think, I haven't set the Z-V1 up right, I haven't done this, I haven't done that, or I've cheated, you know. I do get people comment that maybe I cheat with my, some of my examples. I certainly don't do that. There's no point in doing that. These are straight out of camera. The first bit of editing I've done is what we're doing now, and this isn't even editing. This is just, showing you what it's capable of. And again, you look at this image here, which one's the better one? Just looking at it with your eyes, which one's the better one? I would say the DNG file on the left, which is the iPhone, is better than the Z-V1 file. The Z-V1 file is overexposed, it's washed out, and it's certainly not sharp. Nothing like as sharp as what the 12 Pro Max is. As I said, I haven't done any work to those files. I don't need to really. I think again, I think I've got the point over that the Z-V1 is a great camera, and I use it for video extensively, but I won't be using it for stills, that's for sure, because my iPhone 12 Pro Max is producing amazing stills, and also my iPhone 13 does, which will probably be my predominant phone for camera work. It's a bit smaller for shoving in my pocket, and it's got my SIM card in, so it's going to be with me, all the time. Yeah, that's kind of what I think of the Z-V1 versus the 12 Pro Max. The iPhones are definitely capable as being your go-to camera if you need a really good camera for taking good quality snaps. They're not snaps, they're better than snaps, they're really good. So there we go, that's my thoughts on, you make your own mind up. What I would strongly suggest, take a look at my Flickr page. You'll be able to see these images on my Flickr page. I'll have an album for the 12 Pro Max and for the Z-V1, and I'll also have an album with both, both of them side by side. It's well worth taking a look at that. You'll be able to see the image quality better than what you would do on YouTube because of the compression. On the subject of photo editing software, there'll be a link in the description below to my website where you can download trial versions of Capture One Pro and Luminar. And I would strongly suggest you do. It don't cost you anything. You haven't got to put credit card details in or whatever. So download the trial versions and have a play. If you do decide you want to buy, let's say for example, Capture One Pro, use the code AVP10 to get 10% off your purchase price, whether it's a subscription or whether you buy it outright. Or if you decide to download Luminar 4 or AI, use the code AVP to get $10 off. And that would be great, and they're great bits of software. Luminar is a lot cheaper than Capture One Pro, but it doesn't have so many features as what Capture One Pro has that I've been showing you here. And that would be awesome. Have a play with them. So there we go. If you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button. Really, really appreciate that. And please subscribe. I have noticed in the analytics that there's, I think it was 84% of people watch my videos, that haven't subscribed. So if you're one of that 84%, can you please subscribe? It really does help me grow the channel, and I so much appreciate that. So once again, thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos relating to video and photography, more mobile phone photography and video, and various other, you know, stuff like that. So thanks very much, and see you on the next one. Cheers for now. Bye.